Good afternoon. Welcome to our webinar on a career at ERM. Just going to give it a couple of minutes and wait to see if we have other attendees coming. So if you just give it we'll give it about 30 seconds because we do actually have quite a lot that's already come on. Bear with us for now. Okay, welcome to our webinar on a career at ERM. My name is Saman. I'm Global Head of Talent Acquisition for ERM. I'll be managing the process today, and we have a number of, we have 3 people from different companies here who are part of the ERM family. We'll take some time to explain who we are, why we've joined, what we're doing, etc. And then what we'll do is open up the session to Q&A. If you type in your questions into the chat box, that will be monitored and managed. And then in the best way possible, we'll actually try and answer your questions. So please keep those questions coming. The harder, the better, shall we say. So first of all, I'm Saman. I'm 23 years in executive search, recruitment and talent acquisition. I started in investment banking, corporate finance. I worked internationally. I worked in climate change and sustainability for the last 13 years when the markets crashed in finance. My biggest claim to fame is moving a gentleman who used to run the COPs in Glasgow, which were the climate change summits. His name was Ivo de Boer, Secretary General for the COP for United Nations. I moved into KPMG. I joined KPMG to grow their climate change function. Now I've been with ERM for 2 years, where my focus is to work through recruitment from all levels, from graduate up to senior partner and management and executive committee as well. Always happy to answer any questions as well if you're looking for a career within environmental sustainability, climate change, infrastructure. And if you'd like to come and join the talent acquisition function, then also more than happy to have that conversation as well. I have 3 people with me. I'm going to move away from here in a minute. And the gentleman that's going to take my chair is Andy from RCG. I then have, to my left, I have Stuart from Arcus. He'll introduce himself. And then I have Jenny as well from Arcus. So looking forward to the debate just now. Speak to you soon.
Shall I go? Yeah. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for taking the time to join. My name is, Saman says, my name is Stuart Davidson. My current role is Operational Director for Arcus. Arcus, as Saman said, has become part of the ERM group in the last year. And under the Arcus banner, we've got about 100 people. We are an environmental planning and engineering consultancy that specialises in renewable energy projects. My current role, as I say, is operational director. As in that role, I'm responsible for our work in Scotland. And as a multidisciplinary consultancy, that includes a range of different technical disciplines. That includes, noise, ecology, project managers, which Jenny here is part of the team for, engineering, planning, and all those skill sets work on a range of different renewable energy projects, such as onshore wind, offshore wind, grid connections for those projects, battery storage, more recently hydrogen. And our typical role in the process is working for clients who will, like Scottish Powers, like EDF, SSE, who would be looking to build a wind farm, build one of those projects I've mentioned, and be seeking to make sure that it's done responsibly, the right project in the right place. And we do everything from site search and identifying locations for these projects through to environmental impact assessments, managing the design process, submitting the planning applications, negotiating with the consultees such as the local authorities and the quantities such as Nature Scot, SEPA, etc., and making sure that what we're doing is these projects are environmentally designed in an environmentally positive way as much as they can be, and really shaping how we move to a more low carbon and decarbonised economy. So I joined Arcus in 2008. So I've been here just over 13 years now, and when I joined, the business was about 20 people, and at the time I was on an environmental management and planning degree at Glasgow Caledonian, and I joined as an intern, which at the time it was a very broad degree. I knew I was very keen to work in renewables. I wasn't quite sure what part from an environmental perspective I was interested in getting involved with. So my first step really was to consider consultancy, because given I wasn't 100% sure on what I was looking to do, consultancy offers a massive variety of things. You can work with different clients, you work with a range of different projects, scale of projects, different geographies. So I was very keen to understand what was involved with consultancy, and hopefully help me understand what I wanted to do for the rest of my career. And the benefit I had of joining Arcus was that I was able to do that pretty quickly, coming in as an intern and then being kept on through to the end of my degree. And I've been with Arcus full time ever since. I initially started, and it was supporting a range of teams within the business. So I was on site doing a lot of ecology surveys. I was doing project management and supporting project managers, but also helping with noise surveys, hydrology surveys, and then feeding into early stage feasibilities, looking at locations to see if they're suitable for wind farms, which very much focused on onshore wind at the time. As I say, that's diversified now. And pretty quickly it became clear to me my kind of area I was most interested in was more the coordination side of things. So for the last kind of probably 10 years or so, I've been more focused on EIA, project management and coordination, and that's really working with all the different specialists within Arcus or with some of our partners to help design these complex renewable energy projects, making sure that we're doing those in a way that's going to be satisfying consultees, but also really making a difference in terms of being able to move away from more traditional fuels that were used in the past. And a big exciting part, and continues to be an exciting part of the role, is working with clients who are very keen. As COP21, there's a big drive for businesses to make sure they're doing everything more sustainably. So businesses that even traditionally maybe weren't as focused on renewables are now really thinking about that, and it's a very exciting time for us in consultancy, being able to help them achieve their aims and move away from what they've done in the past to more innovative and exciting projects. So my current role, as I say, I'm responsible for a range of disciplines, but my day-to-day on projects is still project director for EIAs, so more looking at the kind of strategic, dealing with the kind of key issues with the Scottish Government, with local authorities, and working closely with our clients. As I say, every client's different, every project's different. So despite having been here for 13 years, there's not much you can look back on and say it's been pretty similar. So I've really enjoyed that variety, and there's huge opportunity to do that. And I think being here for 13 years, moved from environmental assistant to my current role, there's a lot of opportunity. The industry is growing, and there's a really exciting time for people to join the industry, because there's going to continue to be a lot of opportunity for decades to come as we continue to make the progress we are making. So that's probably me in a nutshell, and my career to date, really. Obviously happy to take any questions when we come to it. So yeah, I'll look forward to hearing them at the time.
Stuart, thank you so much. Jenny.
Yep. Afternoon, everyone. So as Stuart said, I work in Arcus as well. So I first joined Arcus in March 2019. So nearly 3 years now, and my role is an environmental consultant. So when I joined, I had just finished a master's in geoenvironmental engineering at Strathclyde, and I kind of got into that from an undergrad in earth science at Glasgow University. So I always knew I wanted to work in the kind of environmental industry. I've known that for a long time, but when I did my undergrad, it's quite difficult for me to know how I could get into an applicable career. So I went on to do my master's at Strathclyde, which was more industry focused. And then joined Arcus in March. So yeah, as I said, I always knew I wanted to be in the kind of sustainability sector, working in the environment and sustainable development. So it was just a really good fit for my background and my knowledge. In terms of projects and kind of clients that we work with in Arcus. So my role in Arcus, I'll maybe talk a bit about that, is kind of EIA project manager. So we have a multidisciplinary team. So as Stuart said, we have like a noise team, an archaeology team, hydrologists, ecologists, and our role as kind of EIA project managers is to coordinate that multidisciplinary team. So quite a lot of kind of project management, but it's a really great role for someone who's like interested in the environment and everything that goes along with it, and learn and kind of horizontal skill development. So whilst my main role is project management, it's a really great opportunity to learn a lot about specialist ecology surveys and the noise team and engineering and that kind of thing. And I think that is something that I really love about my job, is that although I do have that main role, you're constantly working and learning with different specialists and different teams, which I think is great because every day is a different challenge. And particularly in Arcus as an ERM group, you're always encouraged to learn, and it's very much a collaboration in the team and every day. So in terms of career development, I would say, yeah, it's quite linear. Like I will probably stay in the environment team and develop my project management skills, but there's always opportunities to learn about planning legislation and that kind of thing, and get involved in what different teams do. So yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. That's really good. That's fantastic. Thank you. I'm going to introduce Andy from RCG, which is another one of our acquisitions. Andy, over to you.
Thanks, Aman. Hi, everyone. Yeah, Andy Cole here. I'm the Managing Director for Europe for Renewables Consulting Group, or RCG. And my journey to RCG and ERM and renewable energy started 15 years ago with a mechanical engineering degree from Glasgow University. And at the time I was coming out to graduate, I wasn't entirely certain about what I wanted to do. And in fact, a career in consultancy was probably the furthest thing from my mind, because to me, consultancy at the time seemed like something you do after you've learned a trade for 20 years. I wasn't really aware that there was an opportunity to go into consultancy straight from university. And after a year of postgraduate research after my degree in biomass combustion, set fire to the lab at Glasgow Uni a few times, apologies about that still, I found my way to a consultancy in Glasgow called Square Energy, which eventually became the Wood Group and now trades as Wood, and started in their advisory business doing wind analysis and technical advisory services to wind transactions. I mean, the wind business in my career time has been incredibly fast-paced, and working at a consultancy was a great education. I think touching on what Stuart said previously, it gives you access to an enormous amount of opportunity through a huge different range of roles and projects. You're not really always touching the same thing for years. It can be, yeah, there is, I have to admit, there's occasionally times when you deal with a project over a number of years, but then equally you can dip into things that take just 2, 4, 6 weeks. And because of that kind of turnaround, you can get involved in things all over the world and of all different sizes. And with a business like Renewables Consulting Group, who specialise in all renewable technologies, there's also a kind of broad range of different types of technology that you work with. The reason I eventually moved to RCG 3 years ago was just an ambition to kind of work with a business which I felt had real growth plans. They were a young and entrepreneurial business. Where I was I'd been there 11 years, it felt, I guess, a little bit stale, and I didn't really feel they're committed to renewable energy the way in which I think every business really should be. We're undergoing an energy transition. So RCG itself is a integrated management consultancy, market intelligence and technical advisory consultancy, and we deal with projects across their full life cycle, specialising in early stage development of projects, supporting projects from an inception stage when they're just coming into pre-planning, as it is now, we have to do kind of for offshore wind, we have to do seabed lease auctions, and then you'll go into the planning process, and then into design, and then construction and operations, and we work across that full life cycle. As I say, we specialise in the development stage through to consent, but then our transaction advisory business is advising on projects across the full piece, right through design through construction as well. We work on all renewable technologies, as I mentioned. I mean, historically, the legacy technologies are wind and solar, but I think we've seen a kind of enormous shift towards energy storage and battery storage in particular, and now towards hydrogen, and they're also things which we are deeply involved in at RCG. RCG as a business itself is 6 years old. It's around 60 people purely under the RCG banner at the moment, but we were acquired by ERM this year, and that followed a period of probably quite intense period for my bosses of 2 or 3 years, where we were taking offers from a wide range of different large consultancies that wanted to buy into our business, and we had been rebuffing those offers routinely because we're very clear on the vision of RCG and what we wanted to kind of continue to create. And ERM, when they came along, was a business which we felt shared that passion for renewable energy and that vision as to what RCG could become. And we've just been discussing very recently about the growth plans of both ERM's ambitions within renewable energy technology and technical advisory consultancy, and also specifically for RCG, what that means. And we have kind of very significant growth plans within the business over the next 3 years, and we'll be scaling significantly. My current role as managing director is quite diverse. I mean, there's a significant amount of business management, business development, and HR activity, which again is not something which I particularly understood to be part of my career when I came out with a mechanical engineering degree. But I guess maybe that's one piece of advice I'd have for anybody who's starting undergraduate just now, and that's pay attention in the business classes that you perhaps didn't give enough attention to because you don't understand how important they'll be for your career. But equally, one of the main ethos of RCG is that we're a sleeves rolled up consultancy, and that's everybody through from the newest graduate that's day one in the job through to our CEO are working on projects, billing hours to clients and providing input. And so I still routinely get involved from a project director role on our transaction advisory work, helping our clients on a day-to-day basis solve problems and yeah, I guess you could distill what we do within the transaction advisory part of the business down to helping people buy and sell wind farms and solar projects. And that can be ultimately our advice can be to somebody who's a pension fund or an equity fund that are looking to take a stake in a project, or it can be for a bank, a multilateral international lender looking to invest at a project finance level into a project. And equally, we work on the buy side and the sell side. So, as I say, particularly my role in transaction advisory work is one of the kind of fastest paced places you find that everybody wants to do things very quickly when it comes to buying and selling projects. So that's it in a nutshell. Hopefully you followed some of that, and yeah, delighted to take some questions on what that really means.
Andy, wonderful. Thank you very much. Folks, we did have a number of other ERM people as well from the main organisation. Unfortunately, there was a couple of them had tested positive for COVID, and obviously we couldn't take part in this. So apologies on that. I'm going to, it's Saman again, in case any of you wondered. I am going to talk to you just a little bit about ERM as the business, and I'll just come and sit in and take over from Andy. Otherwise, we're back, and we're all safe. Yeah, and it's framed, so that's perfect. Apologies, that was my mistake. We are the largest pure play management consultancy that works in sustainability. Our aim is to work with a number of companies on a strategic basis, but also on a technical basis. We have 6,000 people, 600 partners. We are 50 years old this year, actually, and we have 160 offices in 40 countries. Our regions are Latin America, North America, EMEA, and APAC. And our business is split, where our largest business at the moment is North America, bringing in 50% of our revenue. It also has the largest amount of people. Then we have EMEA and APAC at 20% both, and then we have Latin America at 10%. What I will stress is you probably, if you look at the news, if you look at our website, you'll see that we are 60% owned by private equity. And we just had a deal that's been finalized last month, I should say, with KKR. And it's a 15-year deal. Very exciting times, I would say. A great time to join ERM and the family of companies. We are all one business, but what we do with the acquisitions that we have here, they're known for their brand. They're known for their specialism, I should say. And we bring those in because of those skills. We don't then just change the name to ERM. They keep their brand, their identity, but they have the support globally of ERM throughout all the different areas of group that we can help with that. We have 10 business lines that we work with, and those are climate change, sustainability, mergers and acquisitions, capital project delivery, low carbon energy transition, operational performance, environmental health and safety, safety services, liability, portfolio management or remediation, digital services, and product stewardship. I think you look at the whole life cycle of a company from a strategic level, but also from a technical level as well. So if you're coming out with the sort of degrees, qualifications that my colleagues here have and other people at ERM, then those are the things that are going to benefit you within the organization. As well as those business lines, we also have a foundation and we also have our Sustainability Institute. You'll find details of this on the ERM website. So it's just www.erm.com. You'll also see a number of roles. If you want to see examples of the roles, you can actually go onto the career site, and that will show you from the careers area as well. I would say that APAC and EMEA are massively growing for us. There's a lot of growth within those areas as well. And we are changing with the times as to where we need to be with regard to the business and with the focus on that also. One of the biggest areas and one of the areas that the private equity organizations have looked at for us is digitization. So that's enablement from an internal perspective, but also from an external perspective as well. So how do we digitize the tools that we use? And how do we digitize the services and solutions through our 10 business lines for the business, for the clients as well? That is something that we are looking at. It's something that we're growing, and we look to do that for ERM and also the member companies as well. So I'm going to stop rattling on. I'm going to see if there's any more. There are a number of people who have joined, and I'm going to check to see if there's any questions. If you have any questions, please put them into the chat. At the moment, we don't have any, but please, any questions at all regarding any of the stuff that we've covered just now, and then we can answer those for you. So I'll give you, we do have one from Sridevi Gumaluri. Thank you for the session. I was wondering if you employ environmental economics for any roles. If so, would you please provide some examples of how they may be able to contribute? Let's just check. Answer live. So we're going to answer your question live. Would any of you be able to answer that?
We work with economists in a number of our projects. So as Saman mentioned about ERM and the different business lines, the Arcus team are very much on the capital project, which is the project delivery side of things. So less so on the broader environmental economics of businesses. But one aspect we do look at is a socioeconomic impact of projects in a particular area. So if we're looking at an offshore wind farm, what the socioeconomic effect can be on a local area, on the GVA of a particular area, on the opportunities it creates, and that's something that it's not a skill we have in house, but we work with a lot of different people, different partners on that, and it's definitely a sought after area, and the way in which the industry is going, and this is becoming more of a focus, it's definitely becoming a kind of growth aspect for further assessment. So for us within the Arcus team, it's not something we do employ in-house, but it's definitely a growing area. Within ERM, I understand there are economists in-house, but it's not something we've come across yet.
No. Andy, do you want to answer for that? Would you like to answer for RCG?
Yeah, sure. So I have worked with a number of economists in the past within the technical advisory function, because a component of what we have to do is to benchmark ultimately a number of different parameters around the costing of a project throughout its entire life cycle again. So a few of the key things that we are required to check for our customers are the development expenditure, the capital expenditure at construction, the operational expenditure through the project's lifetime, and then the ABEX, as we call it, abandonment expenditure or decommissioning costs at the end of that. So a kind of a real key component of their work is to benchmark how a project sits against other industry norms, and how that might differ for many kind of geographical or technical reasons. And yeah, I've worked with two very talented economics graduates in my career, who, if they're kind of willingness to understand the technology and blend that with their economics capabilities, it's a real powerful tool from a technical advisory perspective.
Wonderful, thank you. Next question: what would be the best way to get involved with ERM via an internship? Internships depend on the country, depend on the city as well. The best way to look for an internship is to check the website, on the careers website, and you'll see if there's one specific for that. We are putting together a graduate site as well, so that we're looking at the graduates, so the internships prior to that, and then after you've graduated for the graduate program as well. So that's the best way. Any of our roles will be on the careers website, but also will come onto LinkedIn as well. But also, please, anytime just ask any questions regarding that, come through on the Info Careers one as well. We'll be giving you another email address to go through as well at the end of this session as well. When does the graduate applications open? Probably opens up around about February, March. We're happy to take applications even more earlier than that. We don't actually have a set time, because it depends on when you're going to graduate, when you want to actually put an application in, if you want to do an internship prior to that as well. So I will, send your applications in, but then we will be putting again another link for a graduate only one as well. Another question: could you give a bit more of information about opportunities for people who come with more than 5 to 7 years of experience from various other career backgrounds and are interested in pivoting to sustainability management risk assessment? I will, and I will also ask if anyone else wants to add to this at all in any way.
Man, you can do it if you want.
You're just going to give me the question. So this is something that we are doing internally. It's retraining of people within risk management, within sustainability management as well. So we welcome that on an internal basis. We also do welcome it from external. We don't provide the training for people externally at the moment. If you're coming with that sort of background where you've actually gone and undertaken the training, have the qualifications, then we're more than happy to look at you from that. And the way to look at it is, again, on the careers website, check in and see if there's any specific roles. Find who, from the career point, send in through the info email as well with your career background. You need to start somewhere. We welcome that. We thank you for that, sort of passion and drive to move over to this side. What you do bring with you is industry experience. That industry experience is then coming in with the qualifications and the training, and then we take it forward. It's great to say if you came from a consultancy background that we could actually use that as well, but we don't need that at the junior levels. All we want is people with passion, with drive, with qualifications, and the willingness to understand as well. Hopefully that's answered the question. Anyone else want to add to it?
No, I think I'd echo that, man. It's within the renewable energy industry, I think we're coming up to a kind of significant skill shortage. So we do need people across the entire kind of chain of command to be kind of brought into the industry to keep it growing. You can't just do that from bringing in new graduates. We do need to redeploy from other industries. So I think that would be welcome. The specific subject matter mentioned, not necessarily something that RCG would directly employ, but the ethos certainly is there. And we wouldn't just suggest because you don't come with renewable energy specific experience that you step back right down to the graduate level. If there is other transferable skills, you'll find a consultancy that as soon as you're justifiably charged at a certain rate, you can move to that grade. There's no very firm career ladder that you have to kind of progress across. It all becomes, everybody's a little bit kind of flexible in that respect, and people's careers will progress at different stages. But as soon as you're kind of confidently presenting to clients at a certain level, then you can kind of move through the grades to that level.
Stuart, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I suppose maybe just an example. It's different from the the area we've been talking about, but a recent example we've had within Arcus has been someone that's joined our acoustics team. They didn't have any environmental noise, environmental impact assessment, renewable energy background whatsoever, but came from had a very successful career in acoustics, more with kind of building design and things like that. They've joined our team as a consultant. And are very quickly, we're supporting them through aspects of as they get comfortable with the environmental assessment side of things. But there's a lot of core skills that are already there, and it's as much as they're moving into a new field, a lot of what Samantha was just saying about transferable skills are very apparent. So as Andy said as well, we do have a skills shortage in other areas. Acoustics is one example of several where there's opportunity for people to move into new aspects of a career, and with everything coming out of COP21 at the minute, we're going to need more of that.
Yeah, no, thank you, sure, thank you, Andy. I think the other thing is that it's not just in the UK. Yes, we're here. We're in Glasgow for COP. These things focus on everywhere globally for ERM. So wherever you're based, wherever you're eventually going to be, then if we can use your skills and experience, then we welcome that, and we'd look and try and fit you into wherever you want to be in that thing. One thing I will stress to you about ERM, I mentioned 160 offices, 40 countries. We really do promote global mobility. If you are based in the UK, but you say you want to move to India, to the States, to Australia, to any of the regions or countries, we will do that. If you're already based there and then you want to move somewhere, we will help and do that. There are many examples of people that have done that. Some of the people that were planning to be on here would have been able to talk about that as well. Another thing is international work. You will get the opportunity to work internationally for ERM. Our projects are global. Our clients are global as well, with one point of contact from an account director point of view, for a global team of 6,000 people that can actually help and deliver the solutions as well. I'm just going to check, so hopefully that's answered that question. Are there any more questions at all? I don't think we have any more questions. I'm going to pass over because we are, if more questions come through, that's great. What I'll do is give to each person to kind of give, say, 30 seconds of what are your thoughts on ERM? What are your thoughts on COP from what you've seen? Just, none of us here have actually been down to the blue zone or the green zone, but it's what it's been like so far, with what you've seen in the week at COP. Jenny, do you want to give us your thoughts?
Yeah, so I attended one of the events this morning, which was the first event that I managed to get to, and it was at the Extreme Hangout, which is on one of the boats on the side.
The Renfrew Ferry.
And it was, so yeah, I'll speak about that. I thought it was really interesting. It was basically about how climate change is a social issue as well. And it was talking about kind of gender injustice and racial injustice and all that, and how that plays into how we tackle the problem of climate change. So I think having those discussions, like seeing those discussions happening and seeing that it's being recognised as not just a climate science problem, but a intersectional problem as well, was really interesting. Yeah, that's my
That was
event.
good.
Yeah, it was a really interesting event.
And this is the first time you've experienced a COP.
It is, and it's in Glasgow, which is
Well,
great.
it doesn't get any better than.
Exactly.
And I'm, as people probably know, or can hear from my accent, I'm from Glasgow, but I now live. I'm Sri Lankan, in case anyone wondered, and I now live down. I work at head office down south. I live in Hampshire, so coming back for 2 weeks to Glasgow, to the homeland, has been wonderful for me. Stuart, what's your thoughts on the week? What's been going on, etc.?
Yeah, I mean, I attended the floating offshore breakfast briefing yesterday, which the First Minister spoke at, along with a few kind of leading bodies in the sector, such as ORE, Catapult, and it was kind of focused on supply chain. But one of the other things that I think is quite topical for what we're discussing today is, speaking to others and the kind of general view about what's different at this COP is the youth movement and the real kind of awakening amongst more younger generations of that these are issues we're going to have to resolve, and how that goes hand in hand with the skill shortages we have to be able to really hit the targets that are coming out of COP. And I think the fact that that is a focus and has been discussed at such across the board is a real positive, because somebody mentioned yesterday, I think it was Tim Cornelius, who is working on the NIG port, about you look at the oil and gas sector, there's over 60,000 skilled jobs there, but there's a lot of 30 years worth of knowledge in there. We need to find ways quickly in which we can use that transferable knowledge, whether it's retraining people in that field or whether it's bringing through those that are just stepping into the industry. And the fact that that's going hand in hand with this kind of youth presence is really positive, and it wasn't necessarily something I thought would be a big outcome of this COP, and for me it's a very pleasant surprise.
No, excellent. That is good. Andy, what are your thoughts?
It's a good question. I mean, I guess trying to go back to a point at the start of my career to bring us back to COP. I mentioned it was an unusual choice to go into consultancy, I felt, 15 years ago, and equally it was probably an unusual choice to go into renewable energy. 15 years ago, when I graduated, there was many kind of lucrative careers in oil and gas and defence that were available to me, but I was lucky enough to have a mentor in my final year project, and gave me an opportunity to do postgraduate research in renewable energy, and kind of sparked something within me that became a bit of a passion project. And at that point, when I was coming out to look for work, although I wasn't necessarily set in consultancy, I was definitely set on a career in renewable energy. But I didn't at that point in time have the vision of, I'd love to say I did have, that it was going to become quite a massive industry that it has become. And I've got to be honest, I haven't actually managed to attend any events yet this week. And that's night or day. The number of free drinks I've had to reject this week has been appalling as a Scotsman and Glaswegian. But we're just so unbelievably busy within the business at the minute. And that is based on the trajectory that we were on as an industry from 12/6 1 month ago. Where we're going to head after the momentum that's coming out of COP is equal parts frightening and exciting. So I can only imagine I'm going to get busier. But it's one of the reasons why we're here, and that's because we need to grow this team.
Yeah, no, thank you. Let me give you my perceptions of COP and what's been happening here for me for this week. So I've been to a number of COPs. This is my first one for ERM. And at one point it wasn't going to happen. At one point it was going to be virtual. We planned to bring 6 people, I think. At the best, we were at 60 people. So that shows the commitment of ERM, and that's through our businesses of RCG, Arcus, some other acquisitions, as well as ERM people. We have a number of ex-com members here. Our global CEO is here as well as some very senior partners from numbers of the areas of the business lines that I talked about. So it's been going to different events with them. I've been to I haven't turned down the drinks, so I've gone to them. I've just had to kind of watch what I've been drinking. With that, lots of people to meet, lots of wonderful sort of experiences as well that we've had. I've been to a number of different events throughout. I haven't been to the blue zone or the green zone, but there's been, I think it's the other things that are happening outside of those areas that have been great. So I was meant to go down to the ferry as well. There's a number of events there. A number of our competitors are having events, networking events. There are 4 things I get when I come to COP or any of these conferences and exhibitions. Number 1 is market intelligence, business intelligence. What is happening? What are the companies doing? What are they doing to actually face the problems we have from a sustainability environmental point of view? Number 2 is networking, meeting people. I'm happy to sit with a cup of tea and listen to people who actually know about this stuff, and I can learn from them as well. So it's the networking events. Number 3 for us is also then you. Actually, I'm going to go back to number 3, something different. I'm going to say number 3 is meeting the clients, developing the relationships with the clients. We have some senior people here. We have members here from Arcus and RCG, and that's important to develop those relationships with those clients. And number 4, I moved to number 4 is the most important. It's you guys. It's people of the future for our organization, where we can only meet you if you come to these things where it's allowed and possible, or doing something like this. We do have another one on the 10th. There is a more spread one, so please see if you can come to that also. But it's the way to meet you. It's the way to talk to you. Again, we can't face the problems that we have on a global basis. We can't deliver the solutions for our clients, our ERM and our companies, if we don't have people like you to actually take the company forward. One of our colleagues said, just on our presentation we were at prior to this, said, it's fine with all the discussions that are happening in the blue zone and the green zone, but it's what happens outside. It's what happens afterwards. That's what's important. And again, that comes to the people. We are a people business. This is a people industry. And again, we need people like you that can come and join us to actually face those problems and give us the solutions. So it's been great for me. We've got another week of it. I look forward to it. Very tired, but enjoying it as well. Now, we don't have any more questions, and we're at 15:15. So I'm going to, I think if there's any more questions, there hasn't come any. Lynn's going to put a slide up in a second, hopefully, which will give you our address, give you the contacts. Please, if you have any questions, if you have anything you need help with, just drop us an email. You know, put it for my attention. It will come through. Saman, that's S-A-M-A-N. Jenny, Stuart, Andy, and we'll help you if we can. If we are not the person to do that for you, we will find the person for that. Any question you can with that. I'll end it by just saying thank you to the panelists. Thank you very much for coming on. Apologies we couldn't have the rest of the ERM people. We will have more of these. I think these are actually very, very, very important again. But thank you for joining us. Thank you for registering and being part of this. Wish you all the best. Look forward to hearing from you. Bye-bye.